A very good evening to you as you join us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful Monday. Christmas is coming so close, and I'm sure that the festivities are catching up with you. But back here, most importantly, today being the 18th of December 2023, is celebrated as the International Day of Migrants, a day to reflect on and celebrate the contributions of millions of migrants worldwide. People on the move are considered powerful drivers for development in both their origin and destination countries, as workers, students, entrepreneurs, family members, artists, and much more. Migrants often maintain strong connections to their home countries while embracing their new communities, where they bring wealth of knowledge, experience, and skills. How come Nigeria is very concerned about its migrating skilled professionals? That's something we'll get to in the course of the conversation today. But in the studio to discuss this is someone who is very grounded when it comes to issues of migration, issues of culture exchange, and all of that. We have in the studio Victor Adetolaju. He's the CEO, Novel Generation Limited. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you, Joy. It's a pleasure being here.
It's my pleasure. A day to celebrate migrants. This is going to be interesting. But we're going for a short break right now. When we return, we'll get into the story. So stay tuned. The day to reflect on migrants worldwide. That's what we're celebrating. Like I told you earlier, we have Victor Adetolaju right here in the studio. Now let's just go straight to what your organization does. Novel Generations. What does it really do?
Yes, concerning migration, our organization wants to bridge the gap concerning information maladjustment that is bedeviling the nation and is costing us so much, especially in human capital. You know, when you talk about the illegal routes people uses in obtaining their migrant status is so much. So we have discovered a gap where we want to fill. That is the information lacuna, where we see that if people have knowledge about migration, the processes, the regulations, the legal nuances, they are going to be able to migrate better and migrate right. That's where we come in, and that is what we have been advocating. Yes, like today we launched the Migrant Knowledge Bank, where migrants can be able to find access to scholarships, visa processing, update regulations, you understand, in a place for free.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
But let's talk about the whole concept of migration rather. It's as old as humans.
Yes.
The whole concept of migration. Humans have always wanted to leave one place for greener pastures or for many other reasons, and commerce as well. But in Nigeria recently, we've had the issue of what is termed irregular migration and the concern of young people, skilled workers, leaving Nigeria. At what point should Nigeria be concerned, or do you think we are there yet?
Okay, let's take a step backwards, so many steps backward. We would look at it from the point of migration is a fundamental human right. It's even a characteristic of living things. Mr. Ninja.
Exactly.
So M is for movement. You
cannot take it away from
moving. When we're learning migration in high school, we begin to say even winds cause migration. So migration is part of existence. Moving from one place to another has always been part of living. Even trees move.
Exactly.
So okay, now coming to a geographical location known as a country, or there is even inter-tribal migrations and things like that, is that Nigeria has almost criminalized migration with as the body language of the people.
Yes.
We have this negative mindset towards migration, and that is one of the things that we are setting out to correct. You know, because of this, we've gone into partnership with a lot of people to be able to go, like I sent to you, the Afro-Caribbean Chambers of Culture. We were in Spain last year, December, to discuss these things with most especially the blacks that are in the Afro-Caribbean countries, that will share culture together to be able to look at ways to make this thing balance. And here in Nigeria, there's the Institute of Tourism Professionals, you know, looking to study critically the need to migrate right. You understand? Now, for the country, it is so on this side we are criminalizing. Let's say the word is jackpot. We are criminalizing jackpot, like we are looking at it as if it's bad. Where the sentiment is the skilled workforce that is migrating. Yes, there are a lot of reasons why that is the trend right now. But let's look at it from another perspective. We are talking about the foreign direct investment. So we like the foreign direct investment
that comes into our country.
Don't. So there's a disconnect. So there are models that we are studying across the globe. We are looking at the India model. The India model, there's a ministry. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs have bulk of funds. If you are interested in traveling, and then you will see that institutional backup of migration that has made somebody that the Prime Minister of United Kingdom now is a migrant.
Exactly.
Is of the Indian descent. You understand what I'm saying? So, and when you look at the clusters, Nigeria is not even one of the top 5 most migrating countries.
Right.
But the disconnect is that we are not institutionally backing up migration. And that is what we are fighting for. That is what we are advocating for. And saying, you see, migration is not wrong. So, when you know that migration is not wrong, then you'll be able to juxtapose and balance the workforce that are taking that option, because they are going to go there. Right? Okay, look at what Midcom is doing. That is the office of Abike Dabiri. Look at what she's doing. She was in Canada recently.
Diaspora Commission.
Yeah, the Diaspora Commission, where a Nigerian died and froze to death in the cold. That's not befitting for a country. That is downcasting on the image of the country. Then you have people in China, they are catching this person for drug. This person is one guy went there to UK to sleep with a minor. Somebody is being deported. You know, there is a fake COS. There is issues. You know, that people go with forged certificates because institutionally we are not encouraging migration in the right perspective. You know, we have cities in this country, we have states in this country that everything that the children there dream of is to go to Italy.
Yes, exactly.
You know, to go through the Mediterranean Sea, to go to the desert route, do you know the number of people that die? That's the losses that I talk about, that we are losing strongly. So we are not accepting the fundamental fact that migration is right.
Should be encouraged.
You understand? Because we don't have everything here yet. You know, it's a fact that Nigerian democracy is it's at a very baby step. Okay. You can't be comparing the democracy of Nigeria with the democracy of America that is over 200 years old. So we don't have everything. So when you talk about brain drain, that means we're not institutionally involved in migration. That means we are not connecting our resources well with the trends with the developing countries.
Right. I mean, a lot of people are listening to you right now, but we are also very concerned when we see that units of the hospitals are being shut down because there are no longer doctors there. Yeah. As the Association of University Lecturers came up also to say, we're losing our teachers, we're losing our lecturers to this migration. As a country such as Nigeria, I mean, you've established that there is the brain rigging even in cases where these young people go for education tourism, they come back with more experience, in cases where, you know, they can go and gather wealth and return back in terms of foreign direct investment. But at what point should the country be concerned? Is Nigeria at that point right now? Because we are losing skilled workers. We have no institutionalized migration. That's a problem. But what should we start doing now? Is it legitimate to be worried?
Yes, the worry, the concerns are palpable, and they are rightly so. because you see, migration is a topic that cannot be isolated. It can't be discussed, just like one sector. Everything is interwoven. And so when people, what we are doing on our platform is to actually let people know first that don't migrate because you want to run away.
Okay.
It's very fruitful.
By run away, you talk about economic challenges that's pushing you, the push factor.
Yes. Like, oh, the place is so difficult, I need to escape. So when you have that escape mentality, the jackpot mentality, you have done yourself a 70% disservice. See, we have a lot of conversations with guys in the diaspora. There is the high, there is the lows. You understand? There are people that have left the shores of this country for the past 50 years. They are not coming back. They are coming in body bags. They are not ready to come back. So we're saying when you disconnect that way, you are going to be an alien in that place, and you are not going to have an healthy connection back to your country. So what nullifies the idea of escapism is how many people can you take out of the country? That is, if you want to jackpot well, you have to take everybody that you love, your classmates, your friends, your families, your relatives, your extended family needs to be out of the country. And yes, you can see how stringent the laws of immigration laws are across the globe, targeting people that are migrating without a reason. Yes, and I'll say something. The government actually, there are provisions for migration, serious provisions. There are scholarships in the TED Fund. There are education scholarships for people, and it has been running for decades.
Yes, exactly.
But the people that take advantage of it, there are some people that go for postgraduate studies, take their whole family, go and establish there. Nobody is coming back. So it is because there is no body language. So we're like the ostrich, proverbial ostrich. People are not conscious that one family going, two family going, three family, and the people are coming to take advantage of this. So the thing has become polarized. Yeah. So there's no. It's not sustainable. That's the word. The government's interventions on migration have not been sustainable, because like look at somebody that told the doctors that said, we don't need you, if you want to go, or the doctor should go and farm. You understand? So to stay on the point, so coming back to the people now, which is the greatest force. So we tell people on our platforms. We have regular conversations with friends that are people that are in the diaspora, that you see, if you are strategic with your leaving the country, okay, like we're looking at the India model in our last conversation, we'll look at jackpot, the past, the present, and the future.
Okay.
Is that if we have institutional support and backup, which we are going to raise funds, so the country, I'm just trying to intertwine between both sides. So the country is trying to make the guys that have broken through to go to the other side to develop countries. And the country just launched, the federal government just launched a diaspora real estate something for them
so that if you want to invest in
back. So somebody that has sold his house, a professor that has sold his house and tried to migrate and has done care work, has labored for the next 20 years. So he sold his house, but he will still buy another house. It's counterproductive.
When you have not even support, when you do not support, in fact, you make everything
tough. And this thing is not new.
Of course.
But it's having a biting economic effect, all-round effect at every level, because in the olden days we see records have been is there that people sleep in embassies. In the days of US Mr. Lottery, in the days of this, people have always wanted to move. So the country has always been hard on it. Look at the immigration laws. Look at you have to sort this person, even when before you board. So people are like, I've escaped.
You're not talking about routes that are even safe.
Yes.
Talk about the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes,
that
of
people
course.
are dying from.
So what we are looking at is that there's going to be institutional. So going back to institutional support and funding that we are really trusting that we will get in no distance time, is that okay, look at it that it's students that are interested in studying abroad, they are being supported. You understand? Okay, what India does, even on the low key, is that they provide your proof of fund for you. You return it when you get there, and then they are giving you 10 to 20 years. You are established. This is the industry you are going to be imparting. Go to top technological organizations in the world. You will find Indians at number 1 to 10. Because when an Indian goes overseas, is getting established and looking for ways to bring another person legally. I mean, the government is supporting. But look at the chart. The chart is giving you Indian. You are looking at, you look at strategic migration that is impacting their country. One of my teammates was in India few months ago, and he said they have an IT camp that can accommodate 30,000 people.
Wow.
Yes, 30,000 people, each person to a room. A camp, the light does not go off. People come and learn technology there. That is another
kind of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, exactly, going on there. In fact, you look at the labor administration, there are offices in America that their staffs are from India.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm talking about? So that means we have to create a synergy. This is where America is going. This is how we want to tailor our workforce. Okay, we have somebody was telling me we have 60,000 people that has migrated this year, and I was like, we are 22 million. That's not enough. You know, but it's not. We are not being strategic. You know, when the youth want to do something, the government should look into the positives and encourage and reorientate. And that is what, as a private organization, that's what we are looking at. So we say, okay, young people, it is good to migrate, but we're going to give you the right ones. And then we're going to introduce you to organizations. We're going to be the bridge to organizations that are verified, that can be of help to you. And you see a lot of agents, there are buildings, complexes, scam going on there, travel scams going on there. It's not spoken. Some people will sell their house and fall into the hand of scams
and
again.
The government knows. The government has complaints and petitions.
So the conscious, that's what I'm saying, that they collectively, consciousness of the government, they've not been able to solve the problem. So what people, natural instincts of what people don't know, they tend to stop. They tend to blackmail it. You understand? Look at the issue of the cryptocurrency.
Exactly.
So they want to just first ban it. Then
the world is trending on
the government has a blockchain.
A platform now. Naira.
That's even that's even a digital currency. I'm talking about there's a blockchain roadmap created by the government now.
This is something that was banned
some few years ago. So is this a joke? So that means we act before taking consideration that this thing is big. You know, we have countries that are already adopting crypto and things like that. We have the BlackRock, you know, consider crypto as part of the things that they will be trading. So immigration must be embraced as we must find a way of putting it as part of the things that will drive the economy of this country. So currently is at the negative. But if we are sensitive enough and we are conscious, in the next 10 years, we must be able to mitigate that drive collectively with the private sector, the government, and be able to say, do you know there are so many organizations in Nigeria that as many people are running away from Nigeria, expatriates are coming in.
And that is exactly what. So I had a conversation with somebody that came in from another country, and he was like, "There are so many opportunities here. I mean, I came here. I just wanted to do business. I realized I could do more. I brought in my family. I brought in my friends. So, in spite of this push factor that is taking some Nigerians out of the country, we also have the attraction. But what are the regulations when we talk about our borders as well? Is it because this is Nigeria, it's an African country? Do we also have those stringent, strict laws that our people often face when they are migrating to other countries?
Okay, yes. So the body language is it. You understand? So we've flogged that a whole lot. That the body language is what is causing the panic, the rush, and everything. You know, we've not invested enough into the national image. So it's a free for all. We've not been able to understand our sentimental nuances, the things that our unique, our unique selling point. Let me tell you, one of the smallest country in this continent that is like the top rank in tourism, Gambia. The Gambia. The intentionality that they put into tourism is mind-blowing. It's spectacular. Do you know that the whole country, they survive on tourism as their main revenue? As a revenue. A very small island country like that. There was an incident that happened in Gambia, so that we can put these things in perspective and say that we are so blessed. And I will talk about the reverse immigration, that is people that want to come to Kenya. It might surprise you that Nigerian's visa is one of the most expensive visas in the world.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you, and the most difficult to get. One of the most difficult. So Nigeria is highly prized in the tourism world. So come to Nigeria, it's very difficult. It's very
really?
Yes. We've had conversations with the Ministry of Interior, the quota system. There was a conversation on it on Twitter, which is now X recently. And do you know to do business in Nigeria for a foreigner, you have to invest 100 million.
Exactly.
Yes. So a whole lot. So we're talking about the Gambia. So a tourist died at the beach in Gambia. Do you know they flew their flag halfway? There was a national money. There was compensation for the family. They were not the cause of the death. The man just happened to die at their beach. Do you know that? So they have about a few months to do tourism in Gambia, and then by law, all hotels must change their bedspread. You must change all your cutleries. You must bring in new stuffs. So the students, all the youths will be on break to welcome all the tourists.
Wow.
So
they're very intentional.
In fact, do you know another irony is that for some time, I think their Minister of Tourism or whatever was in Nigeria. I met him. And he was trying to replicate the same, but just put intentionality on how hotels are run. You understand? To be able to put, so this administration actually coincidentally is taking strides by separating the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and putting it side by side to be able to stay on its own, culture and the creative economy. So that's the kind of intentionality we are talking about, and that it should be able to reach to the grassroots. There are things people celebrate, like culture now. So when cultures are being demonized and the government is not paying attention to it, and everything is imported. You understand? So there's no collective identity, like I mentioned. So you can't say who is a Nigerian, what actually constitutes the quality and values of a Nigerian. That is your unique selling point. So it is until you now cross the border and say, my brother, how is that day? If there is no tribe outside, you are happy that you can even see in Nigeria. Wow! But when you are here, you are doing Igbo versus Yoruba, you are doing the cant. Do you know there are a lot of and we have not paid the attention. The last attention we paid in the confab, it was the resolutions were not accepted. So
the resolutions were still waiting.
Yes, they are still waiting for implementation. So what we are talking about, so on the migrant day, so our organizations just felt like, let's change the narrative. Let's look at how it is being called globally. It's migration. It's not travel abroad. It's not just travel abroad. The company name is migration, and it needs to be well defined. You understand? So we're looking at going into clusters where these things have been abused and bastardized. The people that are believing in crossing the Mediterranean Sea. You want to, there was an incident in this country where a boy went to hide in the fan of the plane.
Yes.
I want to travel.
The stowaway child.
Because he's just like, you're coming, like, I rather die than stay here. So what is making that's raised? What is making them uncomfortable?
Well, it's time to go for a short break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. It's becoming very interesting as we are getting to how the government can start institutionalizing migration. We'll be right back. This is still Joy Asonye Live. Welcome back from that break. We are still discussing the International Day of Migration 2023. In the studio is Mr. Victor Adetolaju. He's the CEO, Novel Generation Limited. And we've taken the conversation to where he's asking for institutional support for migrants or for migration here in Nigeria. Again, I thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you.
But before we get into that, recently we saw the news that Botswana, Zimbabwe, I think Rwanda as well, have completely
and some visa arrival.
Exactly, some visa on arrival completely removed visas. What does it say about the connectivity rather of Africa? Is it to be welcomed? Because some people raised some eyebrows, especially security wise.
You know, Africa, research shows that Africa is one of the most difficult terrains.
Who did that research?
Yeah, we have
terrain to travel.
Yes. Do you know that it will be easier to travel 6 European countries before you can do two countries in Africa? Yes.
Is it the network, the road network?
It's not road network. We're talking about air travel, and it's deliberate.
Wow.
Kind of is a pre-colonial setup that is this intentionality to break this the strictness rules and the bottlenecks.
Is that to dissuade tourism or the?
We're going to get there. Now, so when you talk about migration, we're talking about global migration, and then there is local migration. Yes, there are a lot of reasons why people migrate.
Of course.
And we're talking about study, sightseeing, fun, tourism, and stuff like that. You know, before people even go outside of the country, the shores of the country, we advise in our organization that Nigeria is 36 states with FCT that's 37. How many of it have you visited to douse your hunger? There are beautiful places in this country. Yes, beautiful places in this country. I was not born here in Abuja. I was born somewhere. I was there and I felt, I would like to be here. So I had to blend in. Look at the effort of the LYC, the National Youth Service Corps, trying to mix. You know, a lot of things are losing their purpose because of the tenacity of on purpose. So I'm talking about the local migration. So many people out of frustration because there's no light, there's no water, basic amenities in their locality. So there's a generalization. That is how everywhere in Nigeria is. You're using your locality to judge. And then so you just pack your bag, spend 10 million naira, spend 20 million naira to go back and become a low cadre in a developed society. Well, there are levels, there are a lot of pros and cons to that. But leaving that, so now we're looking at it that Africa is enough. Africa is going to be the future continent. There's either that is a well-known fact that Africa is coming to be that Africa is the mother of all nations. Is many countries like Norway now. If Nigeria stop importing stockfish, Norway economy is going to crash. Norway is the only country that exports stockfish. There was a time that there was a little ban on stockfish and they started begging. If you remember, there was we are not taking rice from this country. Just 3 months they are rushing down to the country. So the way the world civilization exists is that is dependent on the back of Africa. So it's not surprising that the attraction for the young people of Africa. So when we begin to encourage local tourism, we are many people, the tech guys now are dissuading them. Okay, if it's light and everything, you want ease of doing business. Oh, Nigeria is not giving it to you. Can you consider Rwanda before you go to consider Silicon Valley, USA, where you have to go and fight a lot of things, a lot of issues? Racism is still part of the cons.
But like you said, they have been very deliberate about selling a certain stance of the country. First of all, where are we when it comes to that selling our country, selling Africa for the beauty that it is?
Exactly. Okay, look at Ghana. There are some tech bros in Nigeria that their headquarters is in Ghana. I'm just talking about the benefit of staying within the African continent and be able to reason. Our organization pride itself in not taking the innovations of Africa out again. You understand? Look at Andela. Andela is a very beautiful platform created. Okay, look at co-creation of by Bosun Tijani.
Exactly.
Look at what he has done and look at what the role is playing in the national conversation and discourse on innovation now. So, Bosun Tijani could left. Do you know that the 2 times that big tech giants came to this country, they went to see Bosun Tijani first before seeing the president? When Mark Zuckerberg came, they went to see Bosun Tijani first in CCO in Lagos. When Jack Dorsey came, they went to Lagos to see him. So, but these are private efforts. And so one thing about it is that, you see, a country that 60% of its dependence is on government is a failing country. When the private sector is not leading the charge, I do something in education also. I have an NGO in education, that is Association for Student Social Welfare. We started 7 years ago. We provide social welfare for the student, and then we are trying to marry the industry and the academia. Yeah. So we are looking at it that when in America, education contributes about 2% of their GDP. In Nigeria, education contributes a minus. Is in the negative. It always takes. It's not giving back because it's not structured and it's a plethora of issues. We've met with professors that are crying and say, I cannot even implement what I researched in my PhD. The only thing is fetching me is my salary. A lecturer that did research on how to make orange juice in dry format. He spent over 20 million on it, but it's sitting on his shelf. It can't be commercialized because of the bottlenecks of doing business. So that's why I said migration is interwoven. Okay, tomorrow if that guy has an opportunity to travel, my uncle studied in Malaysia. He studied hospitality in Malaysia. He said he saw a lot of guys that are funded by the private industry take $1 million, do research. Let me tell you, the guy that made pumpkin into a canned food is in Nigeria. He did this in Malaysia. It was fully sponsored. Kilishi suya is now a canned food by Nigeria in Malaysia. They are specialized universities. The only thing that university they are doing that whole university is to study the brain. The only thing they are doing in this university is to study air. So you see people traveling. And okay, Singapore is a country that got independence with the same time with Nigeria. Singapore is the destination for conferences and you want to have conversations.
Exactly.
That is, you are going to Singapore. You are talking about Malaysia. You are talking about education. So what is this country really known for? That is where tourism. That is where
Nigeria is known for. That's a very interesting question.
What is Nigeria really known for? What are we pumping our money for?
Would that be the first step the government should take?
I'm telling you, because when you talk about tourism, we are talking about selling perception.
Right.
This building is a tourist attraction. If we structure it well, I'm working on. Because of this, we are doing community structuring. There's a community we just work with. That's Ondo City community, and we put out the history there. Ondo City is Ondo town is a 500-year-old historic city. That's that's something that somebody will pay for to come and see. 500 years history, the chieftaincy titles, the traditional tools, the artifacts, a lot of things. I'm not from that city, but we've done something very quite original in that place, and it's growing. The last time a lot of governors gathered in the annual celebration. Now I'm back in my hometown in Ekiti State, allowed to do the same thing. In my hometown Ekiti State, there is the traditional stool in my community, in my own community. I was not born there. The traditional stool is just the same like Ife. In fact, they call the traditional stool of my family the Oni of Ekiti.
Wow.
Yes, and there are two places in Yoruba land, the long civil war in the Yoruba land that lasted for 38 years. There are two places that war can never enter into. My town is one of them. And there's a deity in my town that speaks with my voice. And I got there, I told a friend in South Africa, a pastor in South Africa, and he came to Nigeria, and I was telling him, do you know, immediately he told me, book a flight, you are seeing your uncle this week. And I'm in Nigeria, I've never been there before. When I got there, confirmed things by myself, right, I'm like, do you know when you get to that community today, we have politicians there, but the highest trade they do there is bike. They ride bikes, hail people to collect money. They're always drinking. They don't even know what they have. When I told my friends in African Union, they're like, we're going to build a tourist center there. We're going to have artifacts there. We're working on something. We are working on something. It could be a United Nations World Heritage Site. It doesn't have to be just sentimentalism. Exactly. Look at Cross River. Look at Akwa Ibom. Look at Olon Crayfish. That little thing can be a global thing. And next, we are going to be doing a website for that community. We're going to be having tourist attraction. People are going to be paying dollars to come and see that place. So our citizens, our guys there, they are going to be tourist guides. They are going to be troop cultural troops. They are going to be making artifacts to sell in dollars. Do you know our friends, some of my bosses travel to Athens to go and read writing on the wall. They pay in pounds to a tourist guide that makes nothing less than 6,000, 3,000 pounds for just showing people around what it has always been. They let it there. They didn't pay for it. People are paying to see elephants in Rwanda. But so these things are efforts that will make, okay. So when I'm going out, I have something that I want to go and add to. So I'm not going empty-handed. Exactly. So you're not going to go and be sleeping in the snow. Under the bridge. I have my elder brother is in the UK. If I'm talking to him now, he doesn't want to hear anything from me that what I used to do in Nigeria, what I used to do. I'm like, I'm well placed. I don't even have money, but I'm like, I'm well placed. I can be. And I was talking to a guy. Okay, let's do this. It's like, Victor, when are you coming to the UK? I'm like,
to come do it.
No, it's not still to come do it. These guys are living far.
I have been one of the people always saying that there is so much here. The opportunities are endless.
Yes.
That is why when we now talked about the selling of perception, what is that?
Perception is it
for? I am confused because I come from the south and looking across river alone, I'm not sure what Nigeria can pick from there and leave the other. And then look at the plethora of beautiful.
I have a friend from South. Most of my friends in Abuja are from.
So if I'm to ask you now,
yes,
what should Nigeria be known for? What perception should we start today to sell?
Yes,
to get our country.
Today's very because with celebration migration. I have a friend that he's a documentary journalist, and look at Tyra,
Exactly.
See how many places. Check Davido's mansion. These things are very, very easy to do. You understand? Not to lose a thought. Do you know that our guys in the UK right now, the house deficit in the UK, do you know they are living in houses that have been built hundreds of years ago? They are living in mud houses. Ask them. But these mud houses have fire service. My brother was telling me that there was this little fire outbreak and they were being compensated, moved to another place, paid. There's intentionality.
Exactly.
There are some guys saying they want to make immigration laws very stringent, but there are some other guys telling them, do you know this country is sustained by these migrants? They are the goose that lay the golden egg.
Exactly.
But that means we don't have a say there. We don't have a voice, right? That means other people will plan for you. But when you are here, you can plan for yourself. You can be whatever you want to be. And one thing is that if we don't take consciousness now, we are going to be overrun by that globalization, and other people will come into this country to come and think for us. So for somebody like myself that I've done my little local migration, my father migrated from Ekiti to Ondo, took my mother there, we established there, and
naturalized.
And do you understand? No, but I'm going back on okay, now I can't contest in Ondo. That's just the truth.
You might not know anything about Ekiti.
Do you understand? But I will be told, the guys that are even in Ondo have not even finished contesting. And it's you that is coming as a stranger that, and so it's just sensible that find your way back to, it's just sense of belonging. Exactly. So there's something I want to tie. You've asked a very, very important question, that what can Nigeria, so that means when we are talking migration and these issues are interwoven, it's not a joke. It's not just another program. It's very, that's why my boss said I should come. That it's not just a flippant thing, because it's going to tell of what is going to be of this country and this continent in the next decades. What will our children? I have friends now that their children are queued up for trips. They can't do medicals in Nigeria. They are going out. Like, what's here? And these guys, they have beautiful houses, they have beautiful cars, but they can't stay because there's a perception that is shocking them. Their friends are showing them pictures on the snow. I have a friend that went to Germany, and after 2 weeks he's telling me, Victor, bullshit, I can never come to Africa again. That place is backward. I have a friend in Turkey, she's like, oh God, just Turkey. Turkey is like, so what do we need to do? Like I said, individually we need to believe in ourselves. We don't need to talk down on ourselves.
No, exactly.
There is no place in the world that does not have challenges. I am not giving that a covering for the bad leadership that we have. That is very obvious. Bad leadership in the sense that we have made leading in this country to have so much layers of sentiment. You understand? Somebody is making corruption, have a corruption case, somebody is begging for you, and
Nigerians will also carry placards and say because it's from my place.
Do you understand? It goes into a lot of degradation. But with that, we must begin to make the strides. We must begin to eat the iron where it's hot. You understand? So like I used to tell my friends that are overseas, okay, let's pack everybody within Nigeria. No, pack everybody, go. Everybody will become. So I've always told my brother, even the days of visa lottery, I lost my father when I was 6, so we were pretty young. So my elder brother is just feeling responsible, trying to, who can go first, blah, blah, blah. Go to the university, okay, we all graduate. So when they brought the visa lottery to the house, I was very young. I was still in my 10 or something. Okay, it was remaining me to sign. I just didn't feel like signing. I was very small. I knew that if I would be traveling to another person's country, I would be welcomed on the red carpet. I always say it. I must be celebrated when I'm going to visit you, because I will be in the full regalia of my country. And that's how my boss, the president of Africa Chamber of Culture and Tourism, travels anywhere he goes to. He speaks his language. Go get me an interpreter. I can speak English, but I'm not speaking it here. You need to know that there is something. I saw a video before coming in here. A guy was giving valedictory message overseas.
Yes.
No, and he said, I need to teach you something in Bekwenu.
Yes.
He taught them. They said it's Bekwenu. I saw something
similar. One used Yoruba to thank.
Yes. Go use interpreter. So that means, okay, look at that. Is just language tourism. Just it's just spring the curiosity in them. Like research shows it that democracy starts in Africa. If you look at the Igbo culture alone, what you can learn, the migration, how they have migrated and retained culture, the independence of an Igbo person. You look at Yorubas. When you look at Yorubas, they are very strategic, and the warfare. I attribute it to the warfare, the 38 years civil war. Look at the Hausas, they are very lively in their own positioning. You understand? So this uniqueness should not be tainted. Yes, there are bad eggs, and
like there are anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Look at the gang wars in the US, for example. You understand the Chicago gang war, the drug menace, the gun, the gun violence and everything. Go to Canada, there are issues everywhere. You understand? So that means anywhere you are, promote that place. So, and if you have any cost to travel, don't downplay. Like they say about people that go to Canada, say, oh, the UK guys, that before they enter UK, they don't buy ring lights. they don't talk down Nigeria. They don't go store, they say £10 free buy new store, But as US guys, because US is, you don't have time. You are running one after one being or the other, running after one being. And I believe Africa is still very communal, and we need to preserve it. It needs to be preserved. You understand that?
Right. So we're really running out of time. If you have a minute now to tell us what should the government do today, the urgency of it all. It's really important.
Yes, I think, like I mentioned earlier, the right direction is that we are having it's very enormous tax, but the Ministry of Tourism that has just been created shows a significant step. You look at Lakapan Tropicana, look at what Anike Art Gallery is doing, and a ministry is being dedicated to that, to those creative people. So it's a step to right. So we in the private industry, we are collaborating with that effort. My boss, we're working seriously with the minister, and we're really looking at how to, we have the tourism house now, the culture house that is being established, and the National Art Center in front of the shop right at beside former Sheraton, the culture village, the art guide, the pottery village, that have been emphasized now, the Zuma rock and everything that across the country that are being identified, that we now need to make it indigenous. We need to hand it over to the people of those places to cherish and value the cultures that we have, and they promote it without being ashamed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being part of the program. It's been very interesting to talk about this very important subject matter, migration. And for those who are looking at migration with a bad perspective, I'm sure that you now know you can, take advantage of it and not necessarily be a bad thing like it has been coined out to be. Thank you so much, Adetolaju Victor, for being part of the program.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the milestones you and your organizations recently have been getting. This is where we draw the curtains on Joy Asonye Live. We'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Have a wonderful evening.